Warning: if you are against the consumptive use and the ethical harvest of fur bearing animals, please leave this channel now. This is no place for pansies, sissies, or crybabies. Hey trappers, Dale Billingsley here, Billingsley Brand Lures. So guys, what I want to talk to you about today is gathering bait. Okay, it's never too early to gather up bait. I don't care if you're a water trapper or if you're trapping predators and running large bait piles or even bait buckets. We've talked about that in a previous snaring video actually. Uh, about running, if you're not allowed to use exposed bait, you can put that bait in a bucket, drill a hole in the top of the lid, run a piece of PVC pipe up and out, and get a wick going to carry that scent across for you. If you go back into my playlist, into the snaring videos, you'll be able to find that video pretty easy, I believe. Uh, we talked about quite a few things in there about running baits, large baits, for snares. But anyway, it's never too early to gather your bait. I'm sitting right now. I'm sitting on about 200 pounds of shad for coon bait. Don't know that I'm going to use it this year. A lot of it's going to depend on the coon market and where it ends up before season starts. But I'm sitting on it in the freezers and it's just waiting on me. And I know not everybody has the luxury of having a walk-in freezer or multiple freezers, where you can hold bait. So I kind of want to go over a few things with you there. You can hold that bait right out in buckets in the wide open, especially fish, just by salting it. Now, no, it's not as good as fresh frozen fish, but it will still catch raccoon and mink and otter too. What you do is put in a layer of fish in the bottom of put a layer of salt first in the bottom of the bucket. And here's the deal: you want to use non-iodized salt. You cannot use regular iodized salt like you would use on your kitchen table. It's got to be non-iodized. Otherwise, it will completely change the odor of that fish. Probably is not going to stop it and preserve it like you think it will. Um, so put a layer of salt, uh, find stock salt or rock salt. Rock salt. I'll get it spit out in a minute. That works the best. Put in a layer of salt. Put in a layer of fish. Put in a layer of salt. Layer of fish. Make sure the fish is all coated good, and just seal it up in a bucket and set it off somewhere out of the way. You can stack up multiple buckets that way. You can have 200, 300 pounds of bait just sitting there waiting on you, ready to go when season gets here. You can do the same with large baits, like for predators. If you want to run large snare baits, you can salt that stuff. Get you some 50-gallon barrels with good lids on them. Put in some salt. Put in some scraps, beef, hog, whatever, deer, whatever it might be. Put some of that in there and then salt it again, and then put more in and then put more salt, and so on, so on, so on, until you got your barrel full. Now, another way to help preserve that from flies, you can do it with the buckets or with the barrels, either one. Once you put the lid on, smear on the underneath side where the barrel and the lid come together. Smear a liberal amount of Vaseline around that, and that will keep the flies out. Okay, they won't be able to penetrate that Vaseline. Same way, if there's a bung up in the lid, in the top of it, smear some good Vaseline or petroleum based oil of some kind around that, so it's not going to wash away and the flies aren't going to be able to penetrate that. Um, and the same goes with baits and lures. I get these questions all the time. If I buy my baits and lures now, will they still be good for next year? If you buy my baits and lures, you can bet your bottom dollar they're still going to be good, if not better, than they were when you bought them. Okay. Um, Same way, if you have bait and lure left over from the previous year, if your bait and lure maker is telling you that you have to store it in a freezer or you have to put it in a refrigerator or something of that sort, keep it in a cool, dark place, you might want to reconsider who you're buying your baits and lures from. My stuff, believe it or not, guys, anything I have left over stays on the dash of the truck from year to year to year, whatever it is. And it never goes anywhere. It's always the same. It never changes. Everything is just exactly like it was the day I bought it. Okay. Um, And I've got guys that are messaging me and telling me that they've got stuff that they bought from me 25 years ago when I was in business the first time around. Crack the lid on it. It's just as good as it was the day they bought it, and they're taking it out and catching fur with it. In fact, I've got one old boy over here, old Paul Lane, over here in western Missouri. Um, he found a 25-year-old bottle of my Iowa Gold Beaver Lure, 25 years old, took it out, and very sparingly used it to catch a boatload of beaver with it this spring. And he said he's got about a quarter of that 4 ounce bottle left. And he's trying to hang on to it as long as he can. So, anyway, there's that little story for you. So it's never too late to try to gather your bait. It's never too late, never too early to buy baits and lures, as long as you're buying them from a reputable dealer who knows what he's doing, who's got the fixatives in it the way that it should be, and you know that it's not going to go anywhere. So it's kind of a quick little video, guys. I just wanted to kind of throw that information out there. If you're a water trapper and you're needing fish, you've got buddies that bow fish, or maybe snag, or commercial fishermen, something of that sort. Gather up anything that they don't want, and you can, like I said, if you've got freezer room, store it in the freezer. If not, I just gave you a pretty good way to store your bait. Same way with your predator trapper, you run big baits for snares or for footholds, either one. You can always store that stuff. There's ways to do it. So anyway, I want to thank y'all for tuning in to watch. I do appreciate it, and if you would please just hit that thumbs up for me. That's all I'm asking. Once again, this is Dale Billingsley with another one. Signing out.